Hi, Heather.
Hi.
We're back with another coffee break chat. Although I think you and I both drink tea at this time of day, so maybe it's more of a
I'm just
tea.
drinking water today,
Yeah. Oh,
but
you get
yeah,
water even.
yeah.
Or beverage chat.
Yeah,
Whatever beverage you have. Pause the
water cooler.
video, go grab it so you can sip while we
Yeah.
ramble here. Um, so we were talking today a little bit about the idea of systems. Um, you and I have talked systems for a long time, probably since before even the inception of the
Yeah.
Center for Holding Space. It's a phrase, a concept that we have sort of been chewing on for a long time. Um, and it's gone through this interesting kind of journey, the word itself and the concept over the last few years, from being a thing that everybody was kind of talking about to now, in some cases, being kind of villainized. And people don't want to hear about the systems stuff anymore.
Yeah.
And that is kind of curious, to be honest, because you and I sort of have this stance that picking apart and understanding systems and the pattern of systems is really important work because it helps us understand lots of things. Um, so I'm curious why you think folks might be averse to us picking apart systems and understanding them better, and what that maybe is all about.
Yeah. So just to be specific, one of the reasons this conversation came up is I noticed in some of the media coverage around what's happening in the US and some of the things that were being named where you couldn't use this language if you want funding from the government. And it's a kind of anti DEI stance that's been taken in the government in
Yeah,
the US. Um, like anything related to diversity, equity, inclusion is not getting funding or is being shut down. And one of the words that can't be used is systems. And I was really intrigued by that. It's like, oh, why would they shut down something that seems so critical, systems thinking? And I realize that some of it is that it is dangerous to those who want to build empire and want to build monopolies and who are very married to a capitalist worldview, unlimited growth kind of worldview. They are threatened by those who point out the flaws in the system or who disrupt the system or who reveal who's being harmed in the system because it threatens their delusions, really. And yet for those of us that are deeply immersed in it, and we're going to talk about what systems thinking is in our next
mhm,
webinar, because I think it's worth unpacking and naming what we're talking about. But those of us who understand the importance of looking at and kind of mapping the whole system, recognizing, oh, these people are kind of being marginalized by the system because they don't support those who are benefiting, or that, there's some power imbalances in the system. There's a tension there. And the tension is that, like, if we really build functioning, healthy functioning systems, it means that everybody needs to be contributing and benefiting from that system. Otherwise, it's an unhealthy system that's become malignant. And it's those people that are benefiting from the malignant systems that don't want us to talk about it because they want to keep benefiting from it. They want to
mhm.
keep building what they're building and never stop doing that. And they want to take advantage of people who are less benefited, who are marginalized by the system. And so that's where it becomes dangerous. And people who have the power are going to shut down those who want to talk about it.
Sure. Well, it's making me think a bit about what you had talked about, or what you and I have both talked about with the idea of hierarchical leadership, how sometimes it is necessary and it's needed in a particular case. And I think it's similar with systems. Like we need systems in order to function as communities and as large communities.
Yeah.
But when the system itself becomes more important than the people that it serves, then it starts to become problematic. And when the system is only serving a select few people, it is no longer serving everyone else. and
Yeah.
is no longer healthy. And like you say, it becomes malignant then, right? Because similar to a cancer, if the cells are multiplying crazily within the body,
Yeah.
it it is literally destroying everything else, right?
Yeah. Well, and
Yeah.
what people often don't recognize, especially those that, like I say, that the power brokers in the system, the
Yes.
ones that benefit from the system, they're not, they're trying to make the system invisible because they're benefiting from it, but
Yes.
the system is driving them as much as it's driving anyone. And
Yes.
that's why, preparing for this webinar, I've been rereading some of Donella Meadows, I think her name is, who's one of the primary thinkers in systems thinking, and she defines a system as like the complexity of all the parts, and the system can function on its own behalf. And
Mm,
that's what makes a system a system. It's not just all of us working together to create something, but the system begins to perpetuate itself. And so it
itself.
needs all the players to perpetuate it. And so it's driving everybody. It's like this becomes its own entity, almost has its own brain. A system begins to
Interesting.
become this. And so if it becomes malignant, has a potential to turn into kind of a monster. And if we don't regularly look at it and challenge it, and you and I were just talking about how we re-listened to a podcast on the trickster, and how trickster energy is
Yes.
often about disrupting the system, throwing a wrench into the gears of the system to wake it up and force it to see itself. But often we want to be blind to the system because it feels comfortable, because we benefit from it, because it whatever. Somehow our delusion is helping us continue to function in that system.
Well, and like we talked in the last webinar, it's addressing it. We believe it to be addressing either safety, belonging, or identity, right? Like it's contributing to those, to the
Exactly.
nervous system stuff that goes on with those three things,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, exactly. So we get some of our identity from the system, and we
Yeah.
talk systems on many levels. And those who are interested, I really encourage you to join us for our webinar, because we're going to unpack
Mm-hmm.
all some of the layers of the systems, because there's systems at the individual level, there's systems at the macro, and all in between
Yeah.
levels. But at all levels of the system, and our nervous systems are intertwined with the system. And so what happens to the system is happening to us. And so
Mm-hmm.
we're having our nervous system activated by what's happening on all levels. And you see this happening in the world right now, because there's this instability happening in the system because of some of the, for example, the tariffs that are happening, the trade wars that are happening.
Yeah.
It's a big systems kind of thing, but it's affecting us all on a nervous system level, because it's disrupting our sense of safety, belonging, and identity, those core needs. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, we can't extricate ourselves from that system, because we're
No.
like, it's like the mycelium layer. It connects us all to all layers of the system. And so unless we make the system visible, we're going to continue to be controlled by it.
Yeah. So then I guess the question is, how do you change the system if you are to some extent trapped in it at the same time?
That's a really big question. And I think some of this we're going to leave for the webinar
Yes,
conversation,
I
and
know we
for our
are.
study group as well, because I think that's really an important question, is like, what's our role as,
Yeah.
and one of the terms that I like to really been playing with is the sense of being a conscientious disruptor. Like, how do we
Mm-hmm.
become systems disruptors? And you see people asking that question all over right now. It's like,
Yeah.
what do we do? What's our role to disrupt what's happening in the world right now, disrupt some of the inequity or the
Yeah.
systemic racism and all of the isms that are happening right now,
Yes.
because based on this system. So yeah, I think that's a really big question, is like,
Yeah.
what does disruption look like, and how do
Yeah.
we do that conscientiously?
And beyond that, not just disrupting, but as we've mentioned before, bringing our imaginations into something bigger and better,
Yeah.
and hopefully more human.
Yeah.
It's kind of been our catchphrase the last year. Like, how do we
Well,
be
and
more human in all of this?
that's another thing we're going to talk about is like, what are all the different roles? If a
Yeah,
system either dies or we intentionally disrupt it, there's many kinds of players needed in that shift of a system. You
yeah,
need the people with the imagination who are really visioning the future. You need the disruptors. You need the hospice workers who are going to take
yeah.
care of the dying, whatever is dying. And so, yeah, we're going to talk about that more too. I feel like if we give too
Oh, I
much
know.
away, people won't come to the webinar. But all of these things are going to be part of our.
No, I don't think we've given anything away, actually. I think we just left more questions.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, and I think that speaks to why we named this, why we've landed on the phrase leadership for liminal spaces, because it is going to take leadership of all kinds in order to
yeah,
navigate these liminal spaces, not just navigate, but to move towards something new.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah, and seeing ourselves all as leaders in that
yes,
system
all
is
as
exactly
leaders.
what we're
Yeah,
trying to do here. It's like, what's your role in this
yeah,
leadership? Maybe it's like maybe you're the gardener who is planting new seeds, like literally
yep,
planting seeds in the soil to feed the people. Maybe you're the caregiver that's looking after the wounded people that have been harmed
yeah,
by the system. Maybe you're the visionary, the imaginer. Like we're gonna unpack some of those. Like, what's your contribution
yeah,
if the system needs to be disruptive, the way we're talking about disrupting it?
yep.
Everybody has a part to play in that.
Yeah. So come join us. We're going to talk about the dangerous word of systems.
Dangerous and exciting, and
Dangerous.
like it offers hope too. I think that's the other piece.
Absolutely.
It's like
Yeah.
it's definitely going to cause us a paradigm shift to talk
Hmm.
about it and to reveal it,
Yeah.
and it opens up possibility then. And like we
Yeah.
don't stay stuck, and we can detach our nervous system somewhat from the systems that are harming us.
100%. 100%. I'm really looking forward to it. I mean, you and I could talk about this stuff for hours and hours.
And we do.
And we do. And we do. So come join us for a good 90 minutes anyway. And
Yeah.
we're going to get into the weeds, and then join us for the study group afterwards,
Yeah.
because yeah, the wisdom that has come out of the study groups has been so amazing. We have such a good group
Really,
there, and
yeah.
we
This
would
whole
love
program
for
just
more
feels
folks.
really generative, like we're really
Yes.
planting something new and growing some new seeds.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, so come join us. Check out our website, centerforholdingspace.com/leadership for liminal spaces.
Yeah.
We will see you there.
See you there.